as you can hear, I'm back in the car and we are heading for Greenock, our next stop and also our antepenultimate forgotten town. Welcome to Greenock.
Greenock, Renfrewshire, population 42,680, ranked number 249.
As we drive into the hinterland, we do see the looming presence of possibly the Titan, or maybe one of his pals, giant crane. Possibly isn't so busy these days, but in its time have loaded a vast amount of goods onto and quite possibly off of ships. Let's just say that there are quite a few parallels between the waxing and waning of Atlantic trade and shipbuilding here and its near neighbour Port Glasgow. In a rare attempt to avoid repetition, I point the listener back to the previous episode, handily linked via forgottentowns.org for further details as we go in search of more distinct material. Due to a map reading error, I have had a good look from the car at the west end of town, and I'm rather glad that I have, because it's lovely. Like a miniature Glasgow. Stone villas, big solid porticos, well-maintained spacious boulevards. Having parked up, we find ourselves progressing eastwards into the town centre along Union Street. Each road leading north affords a view towards the water and a huge Virgin cruise liner, suggesting that the ocean terminal still gets plenty of stop-offs from seafaring holidaymakers. And whilst the ships might have got bigger, there's an echo here of the trade that will have kept this port busy for a fortnight every summer from the early 19th century to the mid-20th, when businesses, yards and factories in Glasgow and Clydeside used to pull down the blinds for a fortnight, and employees headed Doon the water to the islands of Bute, Arran and Cambrai, as well as Doon on the Cowal Peninsula, and still on my to-do list, Largs. That trade might have thinned out under pressure from cheap flights to the continent, but the beauty of seaside locations within easy reach of the big city is still something that attracts punters, and it is easy to discern on a sunny, if slightly blustery day, such as today. Town edge of the West End, before we descend into the centre itself, there are a multiplicity of very grand 19th century buildings around Nelson Street, including the Art Gallery and Museum, the Sheriff Court and several churches, some still serving God, others repurposed to serve mammon through sales of beds and carpets. Whilst I have signally failed to leave enough time to properly look around the museum, a bit of light reading suggests that the sweet life of Greenock's heyday was at least partially built on processing the sugar incoming from the Americas before it passed anywhere further inland. Known colloquially as Sugaropolis, the town retained a stake in the market until the end of last century.
Sugar, sugar.
But whilst it's clearly not down on its uppers, there is noticeably less industry these days, and the population has suffered a marked decline from a peak of 80,000 and its one-time position as the fifth largest settlement in Scotland. Heavy bombing during the Blitz cannot have helped either. The Well Park Mid-Kirk, this design inspired by St Martin's in the Field, London. Steeple dating from 1787. Opposite is the Victoria Tower on the Town Hall. We find the Black Cat, Greenock's oldest pub. Which reminds me to address an inquiry we received from a Mrs. Lever of Penny Lane, who asked whether there was anything wrong, as we seem to have visited not nearly enough hostelries in this season. And the honest truth about that is that travelling by car does not combine well with Scotland's pernicious drink driving restrictions. So sadly, there's no chance for me to go and hang out with modern-day luminaries in the tradition of engineer James Watt or actor Richard Wilson.
Oh, I don't believe it!
Get me to Greenock.
This town is
Greenock,
this town is so glamorous.
But I've gotta leave old
Greenock,
town, and that leaving's gonna get me down.